Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to share a truly incredible story with you. One that reminds us that sometimes the most profound miracles come from the most unexpected places, carried by the most overlooked hands. Get ready, because this one will tug at your heartstrings and challenge everything you think you know about heroes. Imagine a world of silent wealth. That was the reality for the Sterling family, one of the wealthiest in the city, living in a sprawling mansion filled with every luxury imaginable. But beneath the glittering surface, there was a quiet sorrow. Their only son, young Ethan, was born profoundly deaf. His world was a beautiful but silent canvas. Mr. and Mrs. Sterling had spared no expense, consulted the best doctors, flown across continents for specialists, but the diagnosis remained devastatingly consistent. Ethan would never hear. His frustration, his isolation, grew with each passing year, and his parents, though loving, were often overwhelmed by their inability to connect with him on a deeper level. He communicated primarily through rudimentary signs, often misunderstood, and his world felt incredibly small. One day, a new face arrived at the Sterling mansion. Her name was Lena, a young woman from a humble background, with bright, compassionate eyes and a quiet strength about her. She was hired as a housemaid, tasked with the endless upkeep of the grand estate. From the moment she started, Lena noticed Ethan, while other staff members, and even sometimes his parents, struggled to engage with him. Lena watched. She observed his gestures, his expressions, the way his eyes tracked movement. She saw past the diagnosis and straight into the bright, curious boy trapped in silence. Lena had a natural affinity for children, and she felt a deep empathy for Ethan's situation. She would often find reasons to be in the same room as him, not to intrude, but to simply be present. She'd leave little drawings on his desk, silently point out interesting birds outside his window, or offer him a comforting smile when he looked lost. Unlike many, she didn't try to force him to speak or make him feel like he was lacking. She just was asterisk with him. One particularly busy afternoon, Mrs. Sterling was hosting an important charity luncheon. The mansion was abuzz with activity, and Ethan, feeling overlooked and overwhelmed by the unfamiliar noise and commotion, retreated to his room. Lena, noticing his absence, quietly excused herself from her duties and went to check on him. She found him huddled in a corner, his small face contorted in frustration, tears silently streaming down his cheeks. He was clutching a small, intricate toy car, his favorite, which had fallen apart. He desperately wanted to tell someone, to ask for help, but the words were stuck in his silent world. Lena knelt beside him, her expression soft and understanding. She didn't speak. She simply extended her hand, offering a comforting presence. Ethan, usually withdrawn, surprisingly leaned into her touch. He pointed to his ear, then shook his head, a gesture he often used to express his deafness, followed by a frustrated grunt. He then pointed to his broken toy, his eyes pleading. Lena understood. She gently took the toy and, with practiced ease, began to piece it back together. As she worked, she noticed something else. Ethan kept rubbing his ear, a slight furrow in his brow. Then, a sudden sharp cry echoed through the usually silent room. It wasn't Ethan's cry. It was the frantic voice of Mrs. Sterling. "Lena, what have you done?" Mrs. Sterling had entered the room, drawn by an unnatural stillness. She saw Lena kneeling close to Ethan, her fingers near his ear. Her mind, already stressed by the luncheon, immediately jumped to the worst conclusion. You hurt him, didn't you? What were you doing to my son?" she accused, her voice trembling with anger and fear. Ethan, startled by his mother's sudden intrusion and sharp tone, flinched. He looked confused, then scared, his hand flying to his ear. The accusations, though unspoken to him, resonated in the room's tension. The other house staff, alerted by Mrs. Sterling's outburst, had gathered at the door, their faces a mixture of shock and suspicion. Lena, despite her calm demeanor, felt the weight of their collective judgment. She tried to explain, to sign to Ethan, but Mrs. Sterling was beyond reason. Don't you dare touch him again. Get out. Get out of this house now. Mrs. Sterling shrieked, her voice echoing through the opulent halls. Ethan, sensing his mother's distress and the unspoken accusation against Lena, began to cry, his small shoulders shaking. The entire mansion seemed to hold its breath. Lena slowly stood up, her eyes still fixed on Ethan, who was now being cradled protectively by his mother. The little boy's distress broke her heart. Amidst the chaos and the accusations, she knew she had to do something, anything, to alleviate his pain. With a deep breath and a quiet determination that surprised everyone, Lena reached out again, gently, toward Ethan's ear. Don't you dare! Mrs. Sterling warned, recoiling, but Lena's movement was swift and precise. She wasn't trying to hurt him. She was trying to help him. With a delicate touch, she gently probed the outer canal of Ethan's ear. Then, before anyone could react, Lena pulled something out. It was small, dark, and utterly insignificant looking. A tiny, almost imperceptible button, the size of a pinhead, from his favorite toy car. It must have come loose and lodged itself deep inside his ear canal. Silence fell, a profound, heavy silence that made the earlier accusations seem deafening. Mrs. Sterling, Mr. Sterling, who had just arrived, and the entire staff, frozen in shock, stared at the minuscule object in Lena's palm. It was so small, so innocent, yet it held the weight of a monumental misunderstanding. Ethan, meanwhile, had stopped crying. He looked at Lena, then at the tiny button. He tentatively reached for his ear. And then, something truly impossible happened. Mommy? A small, tentative voice, raspy and unused, broke through the mansion's stunned silence. My ear. It tickles. The words hung in the air, a fragile, miraculous sound. Everyone gasped. Mrs. Sterling dropped to her knees, her face drained of color, then flooded with a raw, unbelievable joy. Mr. Sterling stood frozen, a tear slowly tracing a path down his cheek. Ethan, their son, their deaf son, had spoken. The button, so tiny, so easily overlooked, had been the culprit. It had been pressing against his eardrum, creating a complete blockage. The countless doctors, the advanced tests, the expensive equipment, none had detected this simple obstruction, hidden so deep. Lena, with her keen observation and empathetic touch, had found it. She hadn't just removed an object. She had unblocked a world. She had returned sound to a boy who had only known silence. Mrs. Sterling rushed to Lena, her face contorted with emotion. Lena. Oh, Lena, I'm so sorry. I accused you, I threatened you, and you gave my son his hearing. Tears streamed down her face as she embraced Lena, a maid she had almost unjustly fired, now a hero in her eyes. Mr. Sterling, equally moved, clasped Lena's hand, his gratitude beyond words. Ethan, still trying to make sense of the new sounds washing over him, looked at Lena with wide, wondering eyes. He heard his mother's voice, the rustling of fabric, the faint hum of the mansion. He heard her asterisk voice. He reached out and gently touched Lena's hand, a silent but profound thank you. This moment wasn't just about a millionaire's son regaining his hearing. It was about seeing beyond assumptions, about the power of quiet observation, and the profound impact of simple human kindness. Lena wasn't a doctor. She was just a young woman with a kind heart and a willingness to truly see another person. She taught the Sterling family, and everyone in that mansion, that true wealth isn't just in what you own, but in the empathy you show, the connections you build, and the often unseen ways you can change a life. Lena, of course, was not fired. She became an indispensable part of the Sterling family, not just as staff, but as a cherished friend and, in many ways, an honorary aunt to Ethan. She helped him navigate his new world of sound, sharing in his joy as he discovered music, laughter, and the endless symphony of life. This story reminds us that kindness is never wasted. Sometimes, the most heroic acts don't come with fanfare, but from the quiet courage of an ordinary person. It is a testament to the belief that empathy can unlock possibilities that science and money alone cannot. What do you think about Lena's incredible act? Have you ever witnessed or experienced a moment where a simple act of kindness led to something extraordinary? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story touched your heart, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe for more inspiring content, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next story. Thanks for watching, and remember to always look for the quiet heroes around you.